Sometimes in life, we go through these rough patches, and anxiety and depression can cause us to veer off the path we were originally on. When I was young, I was someone that always loved being in front of the camera. I always loved filming. I always liked having fun. And the camera was just a fascinating way to capture moments on film that you can always go back and rewatch. The idea of making movies for a living, obviously when you're a kid, you don't think about that. What route do you take, and what are the risks that you take in order to get there? As I got older, obviously, this was something that I eventually got to do. But instead of filming home videos, I wanted to do my own films, you know, my own little movies to entertain. Hey, no. This is leather! And that is when I did start getting my brothers and other family members and friends to start doing things together. It's a drug dealer. And watch it afterwards and saying, I want to do more things like this. I kind of got distracted. You know, I found a girlfriend, and that kind of veered me off my path a little bit, especially when I got depressed. And it was a big blow to me and a big setback because I did feel like I didn't know what to do afterwards. But after maybe a year or so after getting over that, I did try to apply for the Toronto Film School because I realized I was interested in directing. And at that time, my parents were like, can you guarantee a job from this? That, you know, you hear a lot of people that get into the filmmakers who want to be filmmakers. They don't 100% have the support that they need. And that was something that scared me because then I thought about it and I'm like, are they right? Should I do this? It's going to be a lot of money. Of maybe my parents are right. Maybe, you know, it's not a secure job that I can do. I don't know. So it did put fear into me. But that is when I decided to focus more on YouTube videos because YouTube around that time was already starting to take off. I remember even my cousin telling me, David, why don't you try putting, you know, YouTube videos, reviews or whatever on YouTube and try it, you know, that. And at the time I was like, you know what, maybe I should try. And that is when I started making my own short films.
Well, David, what seems to be the problem?
Well, Doc, I think I'm going crazy or something. I keep seeing these like weird things.
As time went on and we reached the pandemic, I do feel that that hit me hard.
Small businesses may struggle through or will struggle through this.
I had a dog in 2007, and in 2020 or 2021, he kind of got a little bit sick. And in 2021, something hit him hard. He was already 13 years old by that point. He was my little buddy. And I put him in some of my projects. I started experimenting more because we had a lot more time on our hands during the pandemic. That is when I started doing more stop motion animation, which I thought was something new to me. It was something I wanted to do for a while.
I'm the fly that landed on Petz's head last night.
I'm Batman.
I don't even know if I should be part of this fight.
But then in 2021, things got harder. Things at work where I actually work to make a living, because YouTube didn't make a living for me. That was the best way for me to make a living. While on the side, I can do this YouTube stuff, right? And things were changing. The supervisor left, and The pandemic was worse. Politics probably didn't help with that either. Everything we always kept hearing on the news. I started seeing changes in people when the supervisor was leaving. And the changes were not just with people on the news or people in the world. It was also within family. And then my dog passed away, which made things really hard because that was my little buddy, you know? And I felt that I lost one of my, favorite companions. And you realize that, man, now that little buddy of mine isn't here to greet me. And it was tough. And around October, I tried doing something that probably wasn't smart. And that ended with me going into the hospital. And while I was in the hospital, I did feel like I lost faith in myself, in humanity, in family even. And family is the thing I always believed in the most. While I was in the hospital, I got a Bible from a nurse there. And it did kind of make me feel reborn. I think being in the hospital was kind of therapeutic for me, and it was a way that allowed me to come back to the light, if you will. And that made me remind myself what is important. So while I was in the hospital, I remember the doctors asking me, okay, it's been a little bit over a week. We think you're getting better and we think we're gonna let you go. But I was scared, and I remember they asked me, do you wanna stay here for a few more days or do you wanna let go tomorrow? And I thought about it and I said, I'd rather wait a few more days. And they thought, wow, that's actually a good idea. Okay, so they helped me, they encouraged me. We want you to write down a couple of things that you want to accomplish when you get out of here. And one of the things I knew was I wanted to be an actor. I signed up to a talent agency and started getting all these auditions. Eventually, I did get a role in a Netflix documentary called Get Gotti. That was my first experience on an actual set where people were filming, the director was there, the producer was there. It was a really unique experience and point of view for me to witness. And I remember being blown away. And I think it was that point where I realized I don't want to act. I want to be behind the camera. I knew I probably didn't know everything. And you're never gonna know everything. Everything is always evolving. So I decided to sign up to the Toronto Film School again. That is when I applied, and I had a talk with my parents first, and I knew that it wasn't gonna be easy, but I knew I had to do it. So now here I am, looking into the future, looking at where I am now. A lot of this has been a really amazing experience because I'm learning things that I kind of knew, and I'm learning about strengths and weaknesses I have. And that's something I have to remind myself, because as growing up, I was always scared to fail. And I'm realizing, and I have to remind myself that it's okay to fail sometimes, that it's okay, because that's how you learn. If you don't fail, you won't learn. I just have to listen more to what the teachers are telling me, because they are people that are already in this industry and they can help me. And I'm getting probably the best feedback that I've ever gotten before, because I do feel like when you show this stuff to family, they're being a little nicer to you because, you know, they don't want to hurt your feelings, or maybe they don't have the eye for it, right? That a professional filmmaker would probably have. And so getting into the Toronto Film School and getting the feedback I'm getting has been a really grateful experience for me.